after, months after, when I'm having a low moment, or when I'm working on my business, or I'm working on achieving something like even like a headstand or a handstand. Whenever I have a goal and things are not going my way, or I'm having these mini failures, in those moments I have this picture where I'm walking on the coal, and I just look at it. It's on my vision board as well, because it's just a reminder that if I could do this, I can do anything.
Welcome to the Crossing It Off podcast, where we believe living with intention through a bucket list lifestyle is a great way to bring yourself personal joy. As you are crossing items off your list, you're actually filling up your bucket. The more items you cross off, the more joy gets added, until eventually your joy spills over into the lives of those around you. My name is Roger Williams, and as the host of this show, I will be interviewing guests, people just like you that are crossing items off their own bucket list. My hope is that by hearing these stories, you will be inspired and empowered to cross items off your own bucket list. Now let's start crossing it off together. Welcome everybody to the Crossing It Off podcast. I'm super excited you're here. We have a topic that's a hot one, an item that someone crossed off their bucket list. So excited for my guest. Her name is Vinita Surana, and she is an adventurous, wild, gutsy, and fun. Vinita, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Roger, for having me, and congratulations on such a unique podcast.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I'm having a lot of fun, and I hope it shows. So tell us, Vinita, what is the thing that you crossed off your list?
So I crossed off walking on hot coal fire.
Oh my gosh. Okay, yeah, this is going to be a very hot topic. Begin at the beginning and go back, and it's like, what drove you, where were you at in life to say, I'm going to walk barefoot across hot coals?
Absolutely. I've always been someone who wanted to defy status quo. Being a girl in a developing country, that is a little bit of a challenge, but I always found that my greatest alignment to myself came when I did not listen to what people expected out of me or wanted me to do. And so that was really the beginning of making these items on the bucket list, crossing them one after another.
And so the burning coals item that you crossed off, how did that come up? Where were you, and how did that take place?
Absolutely. So I was in my professional journey, and I was at the peak of my profession. So I would, get these awards, and I would be called for product launches where I would be cutting ribbons. And every night when I went back home, I mean, I was living the dream life, and anyone who looked at my life said, like, this is, as good as it gets. But every night when I went home, I knew that there was something missing. There was a yes, but there was something which is not completely aligned with me. And that's when I realized that somewhere between wanting to do what I initially set out to do and meeting people's expectations, I had come in between. And so the movie came out around that time. It was the Hunger Games, and there was Katniss, and she was the girl on fire. And I just thought that if I did this, I would come back to my essence, that childhood me, which absolutely defied status quo. And so I had this opportunity to meet. So whenever you're walking on coal, you need to be trained. It's the same with scuba diving or any other sport that you're doing. So I had this opportunity come up where they were training people to walk on coal in a city in India. And I literally jumped on a plane and went there.
When we see this done in the media, it's like on movies and that kind of stuff. It seems like people just do it, but you say there's training involved. How much training did you do? Was it days? Was it weeks? Explain that part of it to us.
Sure, it's a 10-minute training. So basically, it's the hardest part is for you to get to that point. After you get to that point, there is some kind of mindset training that the coach does. And there is also a rhythm that you need to be walking on this burning hot coal, because some of peers who had done it in the past, they got into some kind of accident. So there is a method to the madness, and you just need to follow the rhythm of it.
What does that mindset training look like? How do they, is it hypnotism, or is it just actually you trying to change your mindset to be able to do this?
So it's a very basic mindset training. I call it basic because now being a mindset coach, I can see like this is the underlying factor if you ever want to go beyond what you have defined for yourself. So if you ever want to go beyond what your current comfort zone is, you need to defy it. You need to like challenge it. And so for me, the training was that if you can believe it, you can achieve it. And you need to keep telling yourself, and you need to jump a certain time. So you need to get your body into that momentum. So you need to be jumping, I believe, for like 10 or 20 times. You need to be taking circles around the fire, just getting yourself prepped up, and almost like the victory. I don't know if you've heard of this, the victory body language, like raise your hands up, and you need to be a winner even before you start doing it. You need to be completely confident. So that was the mindset training before the actual walk.
So you're telling me that you stood there in front of burning hot coals, having done this mindset, and there was no more fear in your mind. You were just doing those exercises and preparing yourself in that way, like before you like leaned in to take that first step. You were good. You had no hesitation. You were set.
I wanted to do it. I was waiting for an opportunity like this. So when it came down to the wire, I was excited. I was pumped. Of course, I was a little bit scared. There's always that 10% of being scared because you've heard of episodes that have gone the wrong way. So you know, and you've signed like waivers. You know that things can go wrong. But I think the belief of doing something was much greater, and there was a lot of trust. But the cherry on the cake was for my walk, I had more than 100 people cheering for me. So their energy, their trust in me, I don't know, it just infused so much more confidence, so much more like I felt fearless in the moment.
You take that first step and you're walking across. What are you thinking? Can you feel the heat? Are you just focused on getting on the other side? What was going through your mind as you crossed the coals?
As I crossed the goals, the first two steps, you're just excited. You're just very pumped. But in the middle, you can definitely feel the heat. You can definitely feel like it's like if you've ever touched by mistake, if you've ever touched your hand on a warm stove, or if you're cooking something, if you've got burned, it's like 10 times more because it's both your feet. So in between, I definitely had these thoughts like, oh my god, what did I sign up for, or why am I doing this? Within a split second, like literally within a split second, I had this other voice saying that if you can do this, you can do anything else in life. And that's when I pushed through.
This is just an incredible story to me. So you get done, you step off the coals, hopefully onto some nice cool grass. What was your thought process then? You were thinking if you can do this, you can do anything. But once you got over it, once you walked through it, how are you feeling then? Here at the Crossing It Off podcast, we are passionate about inspiring you in your bucket list lifestyle and empowering you to live out your list. We offer many resources to assist you in your bucket list journey, such as web resources in the show notes, bucket list mentoring services, my book Live Out Your Lists, a private Facebook group for you to share your bucket list success stories with others, and more. All of these can be found at crossingitoffpodcast.com. Find the resource that fits your need so that you can live out your list. Now back to the show.
So, like I said, the energy of the people around me was fantastic. I had so many people cheering for me, saying my name. And when I crossed it, I had like two, three of my best friends come and hug me. Like, I've done like this greatest thing in the world or something like that. I'm sure many more people have done much bigger things. But in that moment, I really felt like I'm on the top of Mount Everest, and it just felt like a really great feeling.
And how did doing this change you? How were you different? How did you look? How did your worldview change? What was different about Vanita when she was done doing this and it crossed it off?
So the day itself, after that, we had a mini celebration with my closest friends. And, that day was all about celebrating. But days after, months after, when I'm having a low moment, or when I'm working on my business, or I'm working on achieving something, like even like a headstand or a handstand, whenever I'm um, whenever I have a goal and things are not going my way, or I'm having these mini failures, in those moments, I have this picture where I'm walking on the goal. I have this picture with me, and I just look at it. It's on my vision board as well, because it's just a reminder that if I could do this, I can do anything. And then it just pushes me to do the best thing possible that day. So when I'm really down, I'm sure I cannot, like, run a marathon that day, but I can go for a walk, and that's the reminder for that.
How has it changed? How having done that changed how you look at the world or how you do business or yeah, how you live your life now? It's great to have that memory and be able to recall that and say, I can accomplish things, but how does it affect you moving forward in your daily life?
Yeah, thanks for asking that. It's a great question. So when you're doing a business and you have investors invested in your business and they define the boundaries, that you can push those boundaries. Your confidence and trust in yourself, it's like a building process, right? So you've taken these first few steps and you've given yourself proof that you can defy what people say is not achievable. So whenever I'm in my business and I have people saying this is not possible, it's almost like a knee-jerk reaction to prove them wrong. Whenever I'm in my family and my parents, so coming from an Asian family, my parents always used to say, no, do not go to an Ivy League. Not because you can't, but because it'll be tough for you to get married. So don't achieve so much that it'll be tough for you to get married. And I was like, no, I want to do that, and I want to get married equal. I want my husband also to have those qualities. And so my point being that whenever people put these outside boundaries on me and said that it's not possible, I almost I knew it before I did it, but I almost had a vision that it is possible. And I don't know the how, but it's definitely possible. And what you're saying is not my truth.
If someone came to you and said, Vanita, I'm thinking about putting walking across hot coals on my bucket list. Is there something I should do to prepare for that? What's something that you wish you had done or to prepare for it? Or how would you coach somebody through that process?
One of the things, I didn't know that I had already done this, but it it was such a big factor. So, so I did not tell my parents I'm doing this, but I did tell my closest friends, because if I did tell my parents, they wouldn't let me do it. So, just having a close set of friends rooting for you, cheering for you, just makes the whole difference, because just before you take that first few steps, you still are going to doubt yourself. You're still going to have that hesitation if it's possible, if you want to go ahead with it. But in those times, if you can have people who are really rooting for you, who are genuinely your well wishers, and they're around you, I think it makes a huge difference.
Can imagine it does for anything that you try to accomplish in life. Having those people around you that are helpful is a good thing. It's when people sneak in that are dream stealers, and like I like to call them, those are the people you got to watch out for. The people that say just because they can't do it, you can't do it too. And
In fact, for me, it's like the fuel to the fire. When they say it that I can't do it, I'm like, oh my god! Now I have a new goal. Now I'm definitely gonna try and do this.
yeah, that's a great attitude to have. Yep, someone says no, then it's a great motivator to say, "Oh yeah, I can't. Oh really? Yes, I can." Yeah, that's for sure. What is the next thing that you'd like to cross off your list, Benita?
I want to skydive.
Okay.
So I Yeah, I've done like a lot of other things. Like I've done scuba diving and I've done rapid fire river water rafting and stuff like that, but I've never done skydiving. That's definitely the next thing on my list.
So, what draws you to that? Is it just the adrenaline, or is there something more to your desire to do that?
It's just that everybody around me is telling me that not to do it. So that really drives me. I don't know. I think I've always been like that from childhood. But more than that, I know that when I used to jump from like really high, when you jump into a pool or you jump from the mountains into a lake, um, that feeling in between where you have butterflies in your stomach, I think that's so beautiful and magical. And to have that over like 10,000, 20,000 feet, I think that'll be really cool and amazing.
Is there somewhere in the world that you would like to do that? Like, do you have a preference? Is it like Dubai, the Florida Keys, someplace in India? Where's that place that you would like to do that?
I actually did scuba diving in Keys in Florida, but I want to do it in Iceland because I've been to Iceland and I think it's the most beautiful country in the world. It's just so untouched and raw, and it's just so beautiful. And yeah, I'd like to do it there.
I have never heard that answer before. I get a lot of Dubai's, I get a lot of Florida Keys, places in the Caribbean, but I've never heard anybody say Iceland before. What was
Yeah,
yours?
just to carry the theme of what we're talking, right? I'm very connected to fire. So Iceland has a lot of volcanoes, and just to
Mhm.
have that view of the volcanoes, I think it'll be priceless.
For me, I have skydiving on my list, but I haven't decided where yet. So that's like a big thing for me is like I don't want to just skydive over farm country. I want to be able to have a world view that's different than anybody else, right? I want to be able to see something that's unique that few people have seen or from a certain perspective like that. So I haven't decided where, but Iceland might just go on that list. Maybe I don't know.
and
I might have to check
and
that
if I
out.
actually do that, I think I'll be crossing off two bucket list items because the second one is seeing the Northern Lights.
Okay. Yeah. And I call that stacking. Whenever you can stack
Oh
your bucket list
yeah.
items together, I think that's an awesome thing. It's financially easier to do things that way if you stack items together. So I
I
love
love
that.
it. I
Yeah.
love that word.
Yeah. I love that you're thinking along those lines. But, where can people find you on the internet? What are some of the places that you do your work?
Absolutely. The best way to find me is on LinkedIn under my name. But you can also check out my work on my website, which is winwinsituation.in. So either of the two places or any other social media platforms, I'm easily accessible. But the best way is definitely LinkedIn at the moment.
Awesome. I will put those in the show notes for sure. Benita, thank you so much for being here. It's been wonderful talking to you, and I can see what kind of inspiration you are to the people around you, and I'm excited to see what happens next.
Thank you, Roger. It was such a pleasure. You're such an inspiration. And in fact, I feel that talking to you right now, it's definitely an acceleration to go do my cross off my item on the bucket list. So thanks for having me.